So before I got started with this live, I just basically sat and did a little bit of reflecting of how I really had trouble with math growing up. And it wasn't so much that I was, a little bit low when it came to the processing of it or just the breakdown of it. It was just because I wasn't exposed to it. So people usually don't ask kids questions like, did your teacher teach you this? They just immediately get a piece of paper, they throw you a packet or something, and they're just like, okay, do this packet. And you may recognize a couple of problems, but then majority of the problems you've never seen before. Because sometimes there are some people out there that are into education that would use math as a punishment. Now, when I was growing up, we had math just before recess. I said research before recess, and our teacher would basically say, "Hey, if we get this part done, you will get extra time for recess." And you didn't want to be that kid that raised their hand, like, "Can you go over it one more time because I don't really understand?" No one wants to be that kid. So what do? You internalize it. You just basically say, well, when we do it again, I might be able to get it next time. But there wasn't again anymore. Usually, sometimes you might teach it one, maybe two times, and then we're moving on to another concept the very next day. So now you're behind, and you're behind, and you're behind. And you're trying your hardest to catch up because you notice that everyone else seems to be getting it. But in your brain, I need a physical picture. I need association. This is the reason why I do what I do here on this platform. Because I had a teacher, not until my junior year in high school, that basically broke things down step by step, made sure that you understood the concepts. And then he can say certain things and say, hey, remember we saw this? And then just a word or a phrase, and then all of a sudden it connected. But I'm starting to feel like a lot of you guys didn't have that teacher yet. You didn't have that instructor, but they're all still giving you that same blessed packet to complete. And you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling lost, and you want the struggle to end. So the easiest way is to say, I'm bad at math. And my thing is, you're not. You just need someone to just break down concepts step by step. And at the same time, give you time for it to marinate. Because I know a lot of you guys are going right back to school. And when you're going back to school, the first day you're excited, you're a little nervous, and you're like, okay, all right, you're taking your notes. Like, look at my cute little notes. And then all of a sudden, the next day that you have, it seems like the pace has increased. And then talk about the third day, the pace has really increased, and they're already talking about, hey, you're going to have a test in next class. And you're like, I just remember parts of day one. And then the pace keeps going faster and faster because the class is only around for 12 weeks. And guys, you can't learn all of algebra in 12 weeks. And sometimes we put that pressure upon ourselves as well when we're trying to get ready for the GED and the ASVAB and the Accuplacer. And you're like, I want to get ready just before school starts, and you got a whole plan, but then you're not practicing to match up with your plan. Or you get stuck and you just want to see, where can I find the answer so I can get unstuck? So with all of that, it gels together, and that's why you're here. You're here watching me break down concepts, hoping that maybe this one is the person that's supposed to help me achieve what I need to get in order for me to go after my goal. Because we know a lot of us are working jobs, and most of those jobs and those careers, you could go farther, but you need a piece of paper. All right. Hey, Lynette, how are you? So as we're coming in here, I'm only going to be breaking down a couple of concepts, but today I'm really going to fix with slope and equation of the line, because that's one of those 4-point questions that a lot of you keep skipping on the GED. And if you can get 2, maybe 3 of those 4-point questions, and you do pretty decent on the previous arithmetic part, you're going to be able to pass. You don't realize that a lot of the GED questions, the questions are not valued the same. There's some 1 point, 2 point, 3 point, and 4 point questions. The 4 point questions is basically slope, equation of the line, graphing equation of the line, knowing your system of equations, system of inequalities, factoring, anything we're doing with factoring or quadratics, volume, surface area. I think that's about it. There's probably something else, but those are only 8 that I can think of. 8 different topics, which most of the time is maybe 1 or 2 questions each. If you can just get 2 or 3 of those, and in addition with the other arithmetic, the adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, fractions, decimals, percents, you'll be able to pass. So, do you have books for all this? Yes, I do, Lynette. I do have books for all this. And that's the main reason, because there's a whole series here. That's the main reason why I sat down countless hours to help you guys with algebra at your pace. The reason why I call it algebra at your pace, because now you're given the time for you to process. Whatever you watch, whatever you learn, I give you that time to apply and to understand. So that's why I break all these concepts down. So let me give you a small sampling of how I do things and how we can actually show you what's going on. So, first one, hello Matthew. So first one, find the rate of change and the equation of the line. First thing, I know a lot of you guys are like, rate of change. Like, what? Now, rate of change is another way of saying slope or gradient, depending on where you're from. Okay? Yesterday, we talked a little bit about slope, aka gradient. So how steep is a line? So as I'm looking from left to right, this line, what type of slope do I have here? Go ahead and put that into the chat. What type of slope do I have here? There's 4 different types. Okay, maybe one person might know, and if you don't know, put a question mark. Okay, so Will, I see you. Okay, what type of slopes do we have? We're going from left to right. Do we agree with Will? Are we sure about Will? Okay, Renee, thank you so much for your honesty. Okay, Matthew, I see you. Okay, Pancho, I see you. Pancho, I see you. Okay, so from left to right, my slope is going downwards. Okay, my gradient, how steep is this? It's about middle grade. Okay, it's not like a 15 on the treadmill, but maybe like a 4 or 5. Okay, say good morning, Rhea. So when we're trying to find the rate of change, we want to know what the difference of our x's and the difference of our y's, so we can figure out not so much the length of this line, but the gradient, or how steep is our slope. All right, so everything I teach is in my book, of course. All right, so let's take a gander. The way that we're going to find slope, I know there's another part with the equation of the line, but we need to figure out slope. So one of the ways is using our difference of the y's over the difference of the x's. Okay, so as we're looking at, slope is not an angle, no, it's how steep is your line. Okay, it's the steepness of your line. So when we're looking at our y's, think of the points. The way a point is written, you have an X, then a Y. Think of the alphabet. We have an X, then we have a Y. So we can decide which one of these points is going to be the first point. It really doesn't matter. Do not stress over that concept. Okay, so I read from my left to my right, so I'm going to make this my first point. So that's going to be my x sub 1 and my y sub 1. This will be my second point. So that's my x sub 2 and my y sub 2. Okay. All right. Are bare minimum problems in your country? Okay, well, this is not the live for you. But I appreciate you coming, because these are for people that have gone through basically math trauma, and we have to take things slow. So if it's too slow for you, I greatly appreciate your comment. But here's the thing. Now that you commented, I'm on your algorithm. What's up, cousin? All right, so now we want to take the difference of our y's. And the traditional way that a lot of you guys remember is your y sub 2 minus your y sub 1 over your x sub 2 minus your x sub 1. All right, so now all we're doing is plugging information in. So what is the y value of my second point? Well, here's my second point. My y value is -1. For my y value of my first point, I'm coming up here, and that's 7. Now I need the x value of my second point. Notice the second points are coming first, then my first points are coming after. So now we have our 9 minus the x of my first point, which is a -3. This is one thing that a lot of people struggle with. When you plug in, a lot of people will just plug in the 3. You're like, oh, there's already a minus sign there, so that's it. No. When you're substituting that x base of 1 or sub 1, you're substituting in the -3. Okay, not a problem, trailer. I got you. All right, -3. So now, when you substitute, let's work on the numerator, then the denominator. Don't try to do it all together, step by step. So now we have a -1 plus a -7. Hear how I said it. You have a -1 plus a -7. This minus sign is really a negative to this 7. And we are combining these two numbers together. So since we have a -1 plus a -7, that, I'm going to put it down here, gives me a -8. Okay, -8. All right, because both of them are the same signs. When they're the same signs, you're adding, and you're just bringing down the negative. Okay, so that's another thing that most people will miss. Okay, all right, the only time that this could have been, let's say, with Brenda's -6, is if it was a +1 minus 7. Okay, so now down here in the denominator, there we go. So down here in the denominator, and that's not going to be a 6. So we have 9 minus a -3. When you minus a negative, think of as multiplication. So when the signs are the same, and if you do a negative times a negative, right away everyone will say, oh, the answer is positive. Same thing is happening right here. We have a minus sign, a parenthesis, and most of the time parentheses mean multiplication. And what are we multiplying? We're multiplying this negative sign with this negative sign. So when the two signs are the same and you're multiplying, it's going to be positive, and you're actually adding. So it's really going to be 9 plus 3, which gives us 12. Okay. All right. Yep. So Sean, you can do keep, flip, change. Yes, sir. Or ma'am, I don't know. Okay. Yes, sir. Sometimes I gotta look at the pictures. All right. Anytime you're doing subtraction, regardless if it is basically integers or divide or subtracting polynomials, keep flip change. You could say that. Keep change change. Some people like that. Do what you need to do. Okay. Yes. Okay. Orchard. Yes, that's what we're going to do next. So now, don't forget the negative, Miss Brenda. Okay. So now I have a negative over a positive. So I know my answer is going to stay negative. But 8 and 12, they're both even numbers. And most even numbers can be reduced by 12. But what would be the highest number? What would be the greatest common factor that 8 and 12 has? Okay, parentheses definitely are your friends. 4, thank you, Sean. Okay, Marie, you could use 2. Lovely Bones is saying 4. Good. Pancho, you're saying 4. Brenda is saying 2 and 4. Okay, so we got a combination. Orchard, not so much with the 3 because the 3 can't go with the 8. With the 12, yes, but not so much with the 8. All right, so we could, and I'm going to put it down here just because I got some space. So if I did it with the 2, you got negative 8 divided by 2. Zoom in a little bit. Negative 8 divided by 2, that will give me a negative 4. And 12 divided by 2, that will give me 6. But then I can reduce the 4 and 6 again. And since they're both even, I can do it by 2 again. Which negative 4 divided by 2 will give me a negative 2. And 6 divided by 2, that will give me 3. That's one way. Or you have your negative 8 divided by 12. But if you recognized that you can divide it by 4, negative 8 divided by 4, that will give me a negative 2. And 12 divided by 4 will give me 3. Notice we got the same answer. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. Depending on how you feel, if you feel comfortable doing it by 2 and then doing it by 2 again, do that. Okay? Will it take a little time? Yes. But if you recognize that 8 and 12 are both in the 4 times table and you can take it right from there, do that. Okay? Yes. Okay? So do not forget about that negative. It's still going to be negative. Okay? So this is the type of math that you're going to see for algebra review. You're going to see for the GED test or any kind of high school equivalency test, as well as the ASVAB, the Accuplacer. Okay, sometimes there's going to be a little bit more with the Accuplacer, but at least this is the stuff that will get you over the hump so we can get you closer to that college algebra. So it's basically the stem. Okay, it's the trunk. The trunk of the tree. Okay, all right. So as we broke that down, what we found is our slope. So remember, here's our original request. Find a rate of change. And our rate of change is negative 2/3. But now we got to find the next part. So the next part is to find the equation of the line. Okay? Yep, Hess is the same thing. Okay? Hess is the same thing. So the equation of the line is most famous. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, y equals mx plus b. And this is also known as your slope-intercept form. Okay, the reason why, there you go, Sean. The reason why it's called the slope-intercept form is because we need to go with our slope, which is our m, and the y-intercept. And I think nowadays they changed the b to a c, but no matter what, it's going to be your constant. Okay. Now, someone did mention, can we use point slope? Yes, we can. But I'm really trying to get as basic and trying to get, because I think slope intercept form is more universal. Some people change it to a C, Sean. They started doing that. Some of the books changed the B to C's. So that's why I just like to cover as much as I can so everyone gets to know. The reason why I like the slope intercept form, because I don't want to add another formula for someone to have to memorize. I know that point slope form will work beautifully, but everyone always generally reverts to the slope intercept form. See? There we go. All right, there you go. So, taking a look at our slope. Do anyone do online tutoring? I do. I do. Message me. Okay? So now, we figured out our slope. That's what all this work down here was for. We figured that our slope was going to be a negative 2/3. So that's going to replace our m. But our slope, or our y-intercept, is basically where it crosses the y-axis. So if you're not sure, y-axis always goes up and down, x-axis goes left and right. But as you notice on my lovely little graph, I don't know what my y-axis or my y-intercept is. Just by looking at it, would anyone like to take a guess? Let's see if we can guesstimate. Okay, take a guess. What would be my y-intercept? Take a wild guess. Trust me, this is not to judge. This is not to throw any people off. It's really just to talk about those concepts. Okay. All right. So we're saying Brenda's at -2, Sean's at 2. Okay, Z is at 7. Chai's at 3. Okay. Which Y? This Y. This point of intersection. Okay. This point of intersection. Okay. All right. Okay, so Brenda's at +2. So -2, 0. We got 3. All right, -1s. Okay. All right. So we want to do a little more self-discovery. Okay, so we can make some tweaking. Okay. So, interesting numbers. So remember those numbers. So a lot of people are saying 2. Some people are saying 3. Okay, some people are giving me 1, 0. Some people are giving me 7. All right, so we're taking a look, a little gander. Okay, we're saying 2, 0. Okay, this is why I come here. So we can actually take a look at these. Okay, so sugar is saying 5. Got it. But how can we be precise? So what we can do is, I'm going to come down here and we're going to use that y equals mx plus b. We know our m is a -2/3, but we don't know our b. So what I can use is one of the 2 points that's on the line. Okay, so we can either use this -3, 7, or we can use this 9, -1. It doesn't matter which one of those points. So you're going to go down and over 3. Okay, that is going to be your slope. But if you go down and over 3, what is it? What is that y-intercept? So we could use that slope that equation, y equals mx plus b, because we got this memorized. And we can plug in one of the points. So I'm going to try, we'll try the -3 and 7. Why not? I may even do both. So the y value was 7. The x value was -3. See? You got your -3 and 7. So now we can actually do calculation to find our y-intercept. So let's practice multiplying fractions and whole numbers. So remember, in order for us to multiply a fraction with a whole number, we need to change that whole number to a fraction without devaluing it. That's why we put it over 1. So now you can do one of two ways. You can multiply straight across and then simplify. So if I multiply -2 times -3, a negative times a negative is a positive, and 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. So now let's simplify. What's 6 divided by 3? That's 2. Now everything can come on down. Okay, so we did this to get that. Then we simplify this to get that. All right, so now we want to solve this equation for b. So now we're going to practice on solving one-step equations. How would I get b by itself? Okay. All right. How do we get b by itself? Okay. So Brenda, how did you get the 5? What did you do? Okay. We want to combine our like terms, but we got that equal sign. So Bill is saying subtraction of 2. This is a positive 2. Yep, so Colin, good. We're going to subtract 2 on both sides. Okay, so in order for us, flip overs, what the heck's a flip over? So 2 becomes a -2. Yes, because you need, in order for you to move from one side of the equal sign to the other, we have to do the inverse. So this is a positive 2, not because of this plus sign here. This is attached to the b. Because to the left of this 2, I don't see a minus sign, so it's assumed to be positive. So now I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. So 2 minus 2, that gives me 0. I don't need the placeholder of 0 because I still got this b. And then we have 7 minus 2, which gives us 5. Okay, the inverse. There you go. Thank you. All right. So we have our slope, which was -2/3. We have our y-intercept, which is 5. What's my equation? What's my equation of the line? Y equals what? Okay, what's my equation of the line? If we know the slope, we know the y-intercept, which is the b. That's the formula that we're going to use. Is that Shaya? All right. What is my equation? Okay, Bill, I see you. What's missing, Bill? There we go. Okay. Okay, Paco, I see you. Colin, I see you. What's missing? Paco and Colin. He's like, wait, don't say my name yet. Okay. So what's the whole entire equation, Miss Brenda? Yes, Colin, go ahead. There you go, Paco. All right. So what you're trying to fill in, anytime they say equation line, they want the y equals mx plus b. Okay. So all we're doing is filling things in. You're filling in the negative 2/3 for the slope. Keep it as a fraction. And then we have a positive 5. Now, there are multiple ways. Yep, close, Shayla. Just have to put the negative. That's the only thing that's missing. That's the only thing that's missing. Okay, so we have to, 1, make sure we take care of our signage. 2, understanding the step-by-step to find your slope. Yes, there are multiple ways of finding slope. So once you know that you have a negative 2/3, let me go back to this. We could have, and I know someone said it earlier, we want to go down 2. 1, 2, and we want to go over 3. 1, 2, 3. So if I'm starting here at 7 and I go down 2, that means I got to 5. Because from 7 minus 2 gives me 5. Then I'm going over 3. My x value is at a negative 3. So if I go to the right 3, that means I'm going negative 3 plus 3. That will give me 0. So we could have found the y-intercept that way. Okay? But I know for a fact, especially for people that haven't been in school for a while, you're like, say what? You're moving where? That's why it's like I like to give structure. Okay? There's a lot of us that are probably tutors, that are probably just got out of school, and we know the stuff and we know the shortcuts, but I'm really talking to the people that are like 25 plus, 25, 30, 40 plus years old, and they haven't been in school for a while. And just the mere fact that they're sitting here on a TikTok live, which TikTok is for entertainment, not learning, but they have someone to break down concepts step by step. Okay? So that's why I tried to use concepts that, 1, people kind of heard of, and 2, something that you can go from step to step and slow it down. Because I know there's a lot of people like, I know this is easy, this is easy. Okay, congratulations. But this is not the live for you. Okay? I'm really talking to the people that are like, look, this is freaking me out, just the fact that I'm sitting here watching this. But for some reason, you just can't turn away. You're just sitting here watching, right? And here's my thing. You're saying you hate math. You hate how it was presented to you, or lack thereof. And then people make you feel like, oh, this is easy. Why can't you get it? First off, you don't know what people know. You don't know people's situations. So that's why I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to break down concepts as best I can. You hate that you don't understand it because no one's really broke it down to you before. It was just like, here's a formula, memorize it. Here's a formula, memorize it. Do you guys know that I could have gone the other way and gotten the same answer? I could have done 7 minus a negative 1 and negative 3 minus 9, and I would have gotten the same answer. All right? So this is what I'm saying. It's because we all need to take a breath. And when you're currently taking a class, this pace is so quick because they're trying to jam as much as they can in for 12 weeks. And then all of a sudden you got these homework assignments and you're struggling because you'll have an answer key that will look like this. And then you're like, I don't know where to start. I don't know which formula I should use. What is the question? I need someone to break it down. That's why I come on here. Okay? Yeah, there was 100 and some odd people in here, but they just want entertainment. I'm not a monkey. I just like to break it down to the best of our ability. All right? So, well, thank you guys for the handwriting. All right. So, when it comes, X comes first. No. Okay, so Shayla, that's another thing, because some people did say that. When you're doing any kind of order of operation, I'm going to put it down here, try to make it nice and big. Your X values, then your Y values. Think of the alphabet. So the X always comes first. So if you're here, anytime you're about to graph, you always start at what's called the origin, at the 0. So I noticed I didn't have to go left or right to plot this point right here. So that means my X value stays at 0. But then I had to go up to this point here. So that's your Y value, because notice it's on the Y axis. My X is 0, but my Y is the actual point. So that's why it's going to be 0, 5. Okay, 5, 0, that's when you're talking about possibly a point here, your x-intercept. Okay, so when your y value is 0, that's your x-intercept. When your x value is 0, that's your y-intercept. Okay. All right. Hey, Mel. Good morning. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now, one more question. Okay. You see this. Tell me your initial reaction. Don't read it. Just tell me what your initial reaction is. Put it in the chat, please. Yep. You got it, Bill. Ugh. Got you. Tell me your initial reaction. There's 50 of us here. How are you feeling? Okay, you hate word problems. Thank you for saying that. Okay, go ahead. Tell me. Put it in the chat. Do not be afraid. This is the one place that you can actually air out your grievances as you see this. Thank you. Overwhelmed. Love that. Frustrated. Yes. Okay. I'm not celebrating your pain, but I know that there's more people feeling the same exact way. Because as soon as you see word problems, about 6 people left. But that's not going to go anywhere. Scare me. Heartbeat. Yes. Okay. Okay, this is what I'm struggling with studying for the ASVAB and the arithmetic reasoning. Exactly. Interestingly overwhelmed. Okay, little juggle of the toe. Okay, like a jingle. Yes. So this is what's happening. Somewhere early on in your life, someone says, hey, kiddos, here's a problem. Let's see if we can figure it out. But there was never really any direct instruction of how to decode or to break down word problems. The reason why word problems, stop eating, I need for you to resuscitate. Okay? The reason why we have word problems is to connect the math with real world situations. Okay? Things that we do every day. Sleeping, eating, laughing, entertainment. So they try to connect the math as best suit with the situation. But as you're breaking these things down, you're going to notice that it's not going to be as complex. So let's break this down. First of all, we don't care about what's happening first. Where you go first is the question. What are we looking for? So what they're saying is, how many cups of coffee do they need to sell to make a net profit of exactly $200? So that means I need to know how many cups of coffee. That's my unknown. That's going to be my X. And if make a profit of exactly $200, that's what it should equal. Okay. Right. So, are we okay? Because remember, I don't know if you remember, but there are certain words and phrases that helps us to create either an expression or an equation. But since they said a net profit of exactly 200, that's an equation. Okay, so we're going to be setting up an equation. So now we need to get little bits of information just by looking at the body of this. Don't really care about the fundraiser. This is not necessary. But what is necessary? Well, I see there's a flat rate of $60. When there's a flat rate, what does that mean to you? So when someone's talking about a flat rate, what does that say to you? Everyday logic. Not getting crazy, everyday logic. Okay. No change. Okay. All right. Stay the same. Okay. Well, how about this? How about your start? So think about it. If you're about to have an event and they're like, you got to pay $60 for your ticket, regardless of what you're about to get yourself inside this event. The event can have multiple things going on, but for you to just walk through that gate, you got to put up $60. It doesn't matter if there's a whole bunch of food. Say it includes the food, it includes the food trucks, it includes the games, it includes all this stuff, right? Or just for you to walk in, that's going to be your starting. So you got a flat rate. Anytime they say something about a flat rate, that's your starting point. Are we good so far? Okay. So that's your starting. So before you can do anything for this fundraiser, they had to put up some money. They had to put up $60 just to start. AKA your starting point is also known as your y-intercept. Okay. And we talked about the y-intercept right here. Okay. If you're ever doing any kind of graphing, that's where you start for your graph. Your starting point is your constant, your y-intercept. Okay. So then we continue on. I don't need to read the rest of that. But then there's something, I see a number. Okay. What's happening here? They're going to be selling the cups of coffee for $4 each. $4 each. So that means for every coffee, so I get like a cup of coffee. So that means if I sold 1 cup of coffee, $4 should be coming to me. If I did 2 cups of coffee, how much money should come to me? There you go, Brenda. Good, Sheila. Good. All right. So if there was 3 cups of coffee sold, how much money should be in that till before I flip stuff? I used to sell concessions in the high schools for basketball, and I'd be like, look, I know how much money I spent in here. I know how much money is in the till. I know how much money I should get back. If I'm short, you're short. I love saying that to high school kids, seeing them shake. Yeah, because they're like, oh, yeah, I'll shake you down. I'll shake you down. So it should be 12. Good. All right. So that means for every cup, I should be adding $4. So now let's put it together. We have a flat fee, so we're starting with the 60, and then we are selling those 4 cups each. But then they're saying, well, how many cups of coffee do they need to sell in order to make a net profit? So a net profit is like what's happening at the end. So we need to set up an equation. Hello with y equals mx plus b. We already said what our b is. Our b is going to be that 60. That's what we started off with. And our slope is going to be what? What do you think our slope's going to be? Put it right there. What do you think is going to be our slope? What's happening each time? Pretty May, I see you. Kevin, I see you. Okay, I just need one more. Thank you for joining in. JB, I see you. Hello, Miss Lewis. Okay, so every time you're selling a cup of coffee, it's $4 each. Anytime they say something per mile, something each, okay, that's your slope, that price of 1 cup, which is that $4. So that's going to be your slope. That's your M. Okay, so am I adding the 60? Well, yeah, because I need to get past that $60. What's missing? Okay, so now we're going to the question. Because now we set up an equation. Or did we? Lovely Bones is saying the amount. What was the amount? Ro is saying the 200 for the y. Okay, the 200, Shayla. Okay, good. So we're replacing the y because this is what this equation is supposed to equal. Not the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the 60. Okay, the goal is the 20. So the 200, the 200 is supposed to be part of a point. But we're looking for what the x is. There you go. So now we got our 200 is equal to 4x plus 60. Okay. So what do we need? What are we finding? I'm waiting for someone to correct, but I think I'm pushing it too far. Okay. We need to find the x. There we go. We need to find the x. Okay, so Mackenzie thinks it's 35. We need to find for x. So careful. If we need to find the x, we shouldn't be subtracting the 4 because the 4 is next to the x right now. There we go. So if we subtract, okay, we're going to divide by the 4. Okay, you got it? Yes. So it's always thinking about this is you and your boo. You're the x. Okay, 6 is trying to come into your conversation like, oh, your man look cute. Oh, he all dressed like. No, you're doing too much. I need for you to be negative so you can go to the other way. Okay, so we can ignore boo thing trying to be extra. So now you got your 200 minus your 60. borrow from the 2, make this a 10, so we got 140 is equal to 4x. There you go. So now, let's divide both sides by 4. Because Boo was acting up. So how many 4s can go into 14? 3 of them without going over. And then that will give us an extra, what did I say, 12? That'll be a 2. And then bring down the 0 to make it 20. So 5 times 4 will give me 20. So 35. 35 what? 35 what? What's x representing? There we go. 35 cups. There we go. Because sometimes we do a whole bunch of solving. So they want to know how many cups of coffee do they need to sell to make a net profit of exactly 200. So they need to sell 35 cups. There you go. So sometimes it's not so much the act of the solving, it is the setting it up. Okay? Anytime they say there's a flat rate, anytime they give you a word problem says that you're going to take a taxi ride, just by getting into the taxi costs $5. That's your flat rate. That's your starting point, aka your y-intercept. So then when they say, oh, but they charge you like $3 a mile per mile, that's your slope. Anytime they give you like a per mile, a per hour, a per anything, okay, that is your slope. That is your M. So that's how you can plug things in to your y equals mx plus b, your equation of the line. Anytime they're talking about equation of the line, this is what they're talking about, okay? Yes, we can use other tactics, but I want to keep it as simplex and as close to the test as possible. They use more of this form than point slope form in those assessments. Okay, how are we feeling now that you have conquered this word problem? How are you feeling? Sorry, it's going to be really small, but here we go. Okay, put it in chat. Tell me how you're feeling. Better? I will take better because it was just one problem, right? I know I'm not going to cure it all in like one live session, but you're feeling better. You're feeling great. You're feeling better. Good. Better. Get your book. Be more confident. Yes. Lovely. All right. So again, the way that I show this, the reason why I come on here, yes, I have several books that I've created. These are not anybody else's books because bam, there's my name. Okay. The reason why I have this whole 10-book series called Algebra at Your Pace is to break these concepts down. It's not a regular workbook. Okay. What you do is you get a QR code, because I did get wise to do one QR code. You scan that QR code, okay? And all of these books are digital books, but I do have physical books on the A, okay? And what's the A? Because, and I just checked earlier today, there's no discounts with Prime Days, okay? So that's the A. There you go. So what happens is you scan your QR code and it will take you directly to a recording of me breaking down whatever the concept is. So if you're looking at positive and negative decimals, I give you space for you to write down your notes, okay? Because we all got to take down notes. Don't just sit there and watch like you do for a lot of the sessions that you have here on TikTok. And then we have practice problems. I'll give you space for you to write those practice problems from the video. And every video has an exit ticket. So as you do the exit ticket, but then if you want to do extra practice, I always give you extra practice problems that are closely related to what you'll see on the tests, right? Once you do that, the answer key is usually on the back, so you don't have to go searching. And then you just go to the next one. whenever you feel comfortable. If you want to freeze the video, you can freeze it. And if you want to try to do the process yourself and then push play to see if you got your answer correct, you can do that, because that is how you learn math. When people say, oh, you just got to do the practice, well, practice how? Okay? So this is how you're actually taking not just bits and pieces of free stuff and you're trying to combine it into one. And at the end, you're given a chapter quiz. So with the chapter quiz, it's just 10 questions and it summarizes everything that you get in this book. So I like to start with volume 1, which tells me the different types of numbers. They always have a question like this on the ASVAB and the GED test, okay? So the different types of numbers. So a lot of other things, you can do your factors, your ratios, order of operations, proportions, okay? Scientific notation. And I always give you guys some extra practice problems, and some of them are going to be word problems, okay? So we can actually break all these concepts down. All right. But the one additional thing that I like for my notebooks is I give you resources at the very end. Okay. Awesome. Okay. At the very end. So that's how you get with the order of operations. You're doing all of the resources. And depending on the books, I like to give you some extra practice as flashcards. So what I did for these is you're going to simplify, and then you're going to try to find its answers. And if you're not sure which answers go with which, that means I give you guys an answer key at the very back of the book. So you're not lost and you're not stuck, and you can actually practice doing a lot of things. So if anything, where to go and get these? All you have to do is just go to my profile sometime today. So if you click on my picture on the profile, so if you go to my profile, whoa, that is bright. All right, so we have the only link that I have is right here, which is our Stan Store. So if I click on that, it will take you directly to the Stan Store, and you'll be able to break things down. So what I did that's a little bit different, I'm giving you a free math skills check. This part is free, okay? So if you want to see where exactly you're landing, where exactly you're supposed to be, you can kind of come here. It's a 10-question quiz just to give you an idea of like, all right, you're good? Awesome, keep going. If you're like, yeah, I think you need some more help, this is where you go. So I gave you that free little quiz here. And if you don't want to purchase or put anything in, you can always back out. Okay? That's how you go back. So you're not stuck. Now, if you want to do any of the foundation or just the bringing things, want to get started, here's the starter system. Whoops. Okay, so this is basically where everyone gets started. So if you want to say, all right, I just want to get started, you're going to get volume 1, volume 2. Okay, so right here, you'll get your volume 1, your volume 2, the extra practice book, which gives you 210 questions where you can sit down and do as many quizzes, mock tests. So you always want to practice the way you're going to assess. So after that, then there is a video walkthrough of volume 1. So what a video walkthrough is basically, let me unzoom. Basically, when you look at the extra practice problems, I am recording myself step by step doing the work, just like how I did for today's assessment. Okay, so all we're basically doing is just looking at it step by step, and I record myself. So now you got the support. Okay. All right. So these, if you do it online, these are ebooks. If you want to get the actual physical book, most of my books are going to be $24.99 because if you order it through Amazon, you're dealing with color pages as well as number pages. And that is all the way at the bottom. If you want to go directly all the way at the bottom, you actually see physical books and resources on the A. That's the A. So if you click on this button where it says show resources, it will take you to my landing page that is on my website. So then you can take a look and it will give you the full detail. Okay, but when it comes to like the grouping, you only can pay for individual books for the A. They don't do bundles. Okay, they don't do that at all. So if you want the physical books and you want to see which one would be best for you, they have the description down here. Okay, book to your house. No, it won't. Lovely bones. The 42 does not. Okay, the 42 is only for the ebooks. Okay, only for the ebooks. And then if you ever want to take a look at that. So the physical copy books, there's going to be the $24.99 each. Okay. All right. So only the ebooks. The ebooks is the electronic ones. So that's all of these. If you want the physical ones, you can get the physical ones. Okay. If you want individual copies of them, you can get individual copies of them. We go all the way up to and including statistics, mean, median, mode. We also do rational functions, radical functions, factoring, combination, permutation, probability, geometry. We're looking at area. We're looking at surface area, volume, perimeter, circumference, all of that. Everything that is generally on the GED and the ASVAB, you can have all of those. Okay, physical book is the same as ebook. No, the information is the same, lovely. So everything that I have in my physical book is exactly the same as the ebook, but the ebook is electronic. It's not a physical copy. If you want a physical copy, you're going to have to go all the way down to the bottom, okay, where it says physical books, and you have to get those off the A. Okay, that's the one that's going to go to your house. So this is where you want to go to if you want the physical books. Okay, and it will take you directly to it. So if you click on this and say that you wanted volume 1, if I click on this, it will take you directly, okay, after you fill your info, because I don't know, when you put it on the A, it doesn't give you any information. But if you just put your email, so now I know who is looking at my books, then it will take you directly to the A. Or if you just want to type it in yourself, you can do that. Okay? So if you want the books to your house, you have to go through the A. Okay? All right. Okay. All right. Okay, keep going up. Keep going up. Keep going up. What do you mean keep going up? All right. So now I also have like other resources. If you want the individual practice books, you can get those, or you can get the practice books with videos. So if you want with the video explanation, again, a recording of me breaking down each and every one. So like say for this book, it's 210 questions. Okay, each of them are in sections of tests. Like say this is the third test, and if you want a video explanation of how I solved each of those problems, you can get that. So you can get the practice one, or you can get the one for ASVAB. Okay, so if you're ASVAB and you want the quizzes, and these are more of like the arithmetic reasoning type quizzes, but it's just in multiplication or multiple choice form, we can do that. So either you can just purchase just the book, or if you want with the book with video solutions, you can do that as well. Okay, so take a look, peruse through it. If you have any questions before you purchase, please do so. Okay, don't wait until, oh, I just purchased it. Oh, wait, that's not what I want. Okay, I'd rather you basically send me a message and say, hey, Audrey, can you explain this or explain that? I'd rather you do that before you make any kind of purchases. Okay, so let me talk to you like a human being. And I just realized that I don't even think I introduced myself. I was just assuming that everybody knows who I am. Okay, I want that paper you're going through. Now, it's not a paper that I'm going through. What I just went through is actually a link on my profile. Okay, so if you click on crazy lighting. Okay, so if you click on my profile, it's the only link that's on my profile. Sorry, it's going to clear up a little bit. Okay, so if you take a look right here, this is the only link that's on my profile. So if you go to my profile and you just touch that, click on that, this is how you get my Stan Store. Yep. Okay. Yep, just go straight to my link. And then you can scroll and take a look. And then also, my suggestion, if you guys want to get started, go ahead and do the free skills check. It's free. And just get an idea of where you're at. And then, hey, if you want to know where to get started, you can use the starter system. Because the starter system, again, this is just for the ebooks because it says digital downloads, no shipping. Okay, so if you're going to go with the ebook version of it, you can get started with the ebook. That will be your first 2 volumes of the Algebra at Your Pace, as well as you'll get a practice test, which is the big, thick practice exam book, which is this one as well. Okay. Access after a pay. So it stays with me. Can also access. Yeah, of course. Once you pay for it, it's yours. Once you pay for it, it's yours. I don't like the physical book is a big, thick book. Yep. Okay, so the physical book is the big, thick book. The physical book is all of these. If you want it to go delivered to your house, you will physically have this copy. So this is volume 1. Oops. So that's your volume 1. Here's your volume 2, which deals with the functions, the factors, the ratios. Okay, you get word problems, you get sample problems, all of that. Okay, that's your first 2 books. This is the instructional piece. Then you get, so the practice piece, these are individual. If you're doing physicals, they're individual. If you're doing ebooks, you're going to get the bundle. Okay, individual books, individual book, individual book. Okay, each of these, $25 each on the A. So solving equations. This is the one that we did the slope. Okay, looked at the equation, the line. Okay, all your slope equation lines in this volume 4. Volume 5 is your inequalities, the systems, absolute values. Same things. We're doing a little bit of graphing, doing a little bit of solving. So it may seem intimidating because the videos are there to break it down for you. It's that instructional piece. Okay. And so you help me. Okay. Help you with what, lovely bones? With ordering or with deciding? Okay, so you get all your books. Now, if you want the individual, you got your practice one, and then this is the one for ASVAB. That'll work as well. Ordering all hard copies. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So it's just there as a resource. Okay, to help you get past this. Because we did 2 problems. That's it. But I know some of you guys I really would love to get more practice. I really want to get more instruction. Or okay, you're good with it, but as soon as you leave the live, all of a sudden you're going to be like, wait, how did she do that again? And it's going to be gone because we weren't really taking notes. We were kind of watching. So that's one thing that has been happening for a while. You're trying to use old processing that you did when you were a kid. Now you're trying to apply it to a test now. And it's been so long. It's been too long. So that's why when you watch a lot of the videos, you're watching it as a spectator instead of a student. And that's different. You know, just like how I say, when my players used to watch film, the way they watch film as a spectator, they're not watching it as a coach. So that's two different perspectives of what you're going to see. So when you're trying to get a lot of the free stuff, this and this, and you're trying to match it all together and it's not mixing and matching, it's overwhelming you. It's confusing you. So that's why I decided to put everything in one book series. Go ahead and click the link in my profile. And if you do have questions, don't hesitate to click the face and send me a message. Tell me what test you're taking. I'd rather you ask questions before you purchase. Okay? You have to practice. Yes, you definitely have to practice. But here's the thing. You got to know what you're practicing. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, okay, let me just memorize the back of this book and, oh, okay, yeah, I'm good. No. And you can practice incorrectly because you can say, oh, this is how they do it. And it'll be completely wrong because you don't have someone to help make those tweaks. Okay, like losing those negatives. Okay, and that's probably the reason why a lot of us are really stuck. And then you don't want to admit that you're stuck because that inner child is saying, nope, don't say anything. Because remember the last time you tried to say something, we didn't have recess and everyone hated you. And you're still grown, but you're still scarred. So now you have a person that you can ask questions. I'd rather you ask questions. It's not free tutoring. It's a quick question. Okay. Now I feel that the books is a better support because then you can basically study whenever you want instead of doing a tutoring session because now you got to adhere to my schedule. Whereas the book, you can just go ahead and just scan whenever you want. Hey, Ambler, how are you? Okay. All right. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. All right. So breaking down concepts. I might be on this afternoon. I'm not sure yet. Depends on how things going. But take a look. Take a look at the Stand Store. Ask questions before you do anything. Okay? All right. So have a great morning. I will see you guys soon. Thank you so much. If you haven't followed me, go ahead and follow me because I do not have a set schedule of when I'm going to go live. So at least when you follow me, you'll be able to get some kind of notification saying, hey, Audrey's on. And then you'll be able to go ahead and go through and just join us in. All right, what's this before I skedaddle? Nurse schools, we don't get the whole foundation of math, okay? And thanks for supporting us. Not a problem, lovely bones. Yep, I get you, Brenda. And here's my thing. Some schools are very selective. So there are some schools that do have a lot of support and there are some schools that don't. So I'm just trying to support as best as I can. Okay, as best as I can. So I'm using my ability to help you, but at the same time, you gotta want it. I can't want it more than you. I can't want you to pass this exam more than you. You've probably taken it enough times. You've probably taken enough practice. It's done. Now we need to do something serious so we can get that score so you can move on with your lives. All right. All right, everyone. Have an amazing day.